there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Going into this date, there is some tension between me and Maya outside the process.
Ooh-wee. Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book. Another one. We're talking to you guys about Laron and Maya. Let me just say this now. Listen, insecurity will ruin any kind of relationship that you're building. Insecurity will always ruin a relationship that you are absolutely building. And I want to say this, insecurity is simply your inadequacy, which oftentimes stems from wounds either in past relationships or in childhood. And it's a feeling of inadequacy, not feeling good enough, and an uncertainty. It produces anxiety about your goals, relationships, and ability to handle certain situations. Okay? Now, all of us have insecurity in some shape or form, whether it's your job, relationships, family, whatever you want to call it, finances. We've all got some type of insecurity that plays about. But some people's insecurity is not momentarily. Some people's insecurity it's got a systemic kind of feel to it. What I mean by that is it's consistent. And it just needs triggering and it goes off. And it's about how do you handle your insecure moments that makes the biggest difference. And this goes back to what we talk about attachment styles a lot of times when you talk about avoidant, anxious, dysfunctional, or you want to call it fearful avoidant, and then secure. The way that the three of them insecure, the way that the three of them are avoidant, anxious, and fearful avoidant are labeled as insecure attachment styles, meaning that it doesn't take much for us to be dislodged. We have a narrative, a story in our heads, which is replaying all the time. And actually, that's what you're always fighting. So if you're an avoidant, you're always fighting the narrative and the story and the lie in your head that, you know what, people are going to abandon you, people are going to leave you. And that if you share your feelings, people are going to expose you and embarrass you. Then you've got the anxious people who, when they start feeling some type of way, when they feel any ounce of someone pulling away from them, they want to hold on to that person and grapple onto that person, keep them tight because in the past they've been quote unquote abandoned or hurt. And they've been neglected in such a way, so they want to hold on. Then you've got the fearful avoidance who do both. They want to both pull you in, simultaneously push you away. They want love, but they want to push it away. And it's because they've grown up in very dysfunctional environments where they've experienced neglect on the harshest level, whether it was through abuse, sexual violence, parents that are just unloving and chaotic, 1 minute here, 1 minute there. And so there is always push and pull for them in all the behaviors. Why am I talking about this? Well, because what Laron was showing us in this episode was some insecurity in this moment, right? Now, one of the biggest things you can ever do is taking someone to the club. I'm telling you, the club will show you some things. In my past life, in my past relationships, let me be very honest with you, I've done some things, my girl in the past has done some things, and we've had some arguments. I remember back in the early days, someone just talking to somebody else when you're in a relationship can be looked at in a particular way because the angle, how you see it. I've been called out at certain moments. I'm like, yo, I was just having a conversation, but the way your hand was on her back, I'm like, wait, hold on a minute, what you talking about? Like, and then you might see your girl talking to somebody and like, but the way that he was all up in your breath and in your face, like you start feeling it, right? So we all have insecure moments. The question is it your story and your narrative that's consistent? If it is, then we've got another story to tell. And I'm going to tell you this. The story is consistent with Laron. I've interviewed him already, so I kind of know already. But actually on the show, there's something that happens that shows us there's a consistency to his insecure mindset, which needs to change in order for this to work. Because let me just say this now. The situation between Maya and Laron flares up because she's talking to a guy that she knows. Can I just say this now? You will never, hear me correctly, you will never, ever in your life win a battle with a woman talking about how she was talking to another dude in a club. I'm telling you, you'll never win. They will always, and I mean always, tell you it's a friend, it wasn't like that, he just knows me, we're old friends, and so you're never gonna win getting excited and getting angry and getting insecure about it. I'm just going to put it honest truth. You are never going to win that battle, right? Now, the ones that do win the battle, their girls will be saying sorry from kingdom come to kingdom nigh, and they've always said sorry about every other thing. This is, you know what I mean? But in most cases, your girl's not going to, I'm telling you, she's going to tell you a story. And I want to be very, very clear. I'm being a little bit facetious by when I'm saying that. The question I'm really asking is, look, is the situation at hand, is your woman taking advantage of the situation, or is this really a true situation where someone she generally knows came to have a conversation and exchange numbers or whatever they did, right? Is it a true situation? The question, that's the real question. You see, because insecurity, what it does is it makes a judgment based on what it saw before it's concluded with evidence to prove their point. The whole point of the insecure attachment is that it makes a narrative instantly and makes a judgment of black and white, right and wrong, very quickly without the evidence really being fully considered. What does that mean? You haven't got the other side of the tale. You haven't got the other side of the situation. So you've rushed a decision and a judgment based on what your narrative is of what you've experienced in the past, and you've supplanted it on this situation. So let me make it very clear what I said again. That I said there were, and I should have said there's a lot of women that will take advantage of the situation. They'll tell you it's a friend. And let me tell you this, the reason why I'm telling you that is because I'm a dark horse. I've lived a life, I've been on the streets for a few years. And let me tell you this now, the amount of women that have introduced me as their friend when they knew they were me, like, let's stop pretending. Like, and I know that we're going to say, hey, that girl's grimy. Yeah. Okay. But the reality is a lot of us have been in that position, right? So, but the question is your girl telling the truth? Or is your girl lying? The question really actually is, have you actually taken the time to understand what's happening in that scenario, or are you prejudging it before it's time? Right? Because after what happens is, if you get angry, you get frustrated, or you act out in your insecurity, your feeling of inadequacy, right? Your feeling of insecurity in that moment. You start acting up and going all wild about it, and then you apologize later on. What was the point? Right? What was the point? And the reason why you're now apologizing about it, because you're wrong. See, so you making a judgment and then acting on it instantaneously because you're insecure is always going to work against you. That's why I said men never win this battle. You need to play the game in a completely different way. When you see something that you're not liking, and I'm telling you from a personal perspective, I've done it, and I've incorrectly responded. You have to go dead. You just have to be like, okay, I saw that. I don't like that. Let me address that later on. And have a conversation, ask her what that was. Sorry, who's that guy? Do you know him or anything? Yeah, I just know him, his work colleague. Okay, cool. And you mark it down, right? Like you have to spin a web with them. You don't act instantaneously unless you've got full on evidence of there being a previous relationship or something, or they've kissed before, something. That you can't. You know what I'm saying to you? Otherwise, you're gonna get vexed for no reason, and then you'll be apologizing. But let's go on to this real topic. Talking about this inadequacy that I'm talking about with Laron a little bit as well. I don't want to go on too long on this, but let's just play a little bit of this.
Things went kind of left, and to not meet her mom, I'm starting to put the dots together. Like, I can see where this is going.
So I guess I could ask them.
Now he says here, listen, I'm putting the dots together. I can see where this is going. I can see that that her mom's not coming. This is it. He's already started making a narrative. Do you see that he's making a narrative? Do you see that he's already making a story in his head already? And so now, no matter what happens, when he saw that club situation, he's already supplanted his idea of what he has in the past as a narrative on the situation. And I already said it already about how I feel about Laron is that he's a bit of an avoidant. And so his thing is, you're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to take advantage of me. I know, because I'm a bit of an avoidant. I'm an avoidant too. So I know the killer triggers are, you're not going to embarrass me. You're not going to shame me. And you're certainly not going to disrespect me. And you're certainly not going to take advantage of me. I will show you what it is. And when you feel like and I said this earlier on in the season, and people were like, what? And I was like, just watch. When you feel like someone's taking advantage of you, your insecurity starts up. That's when it starts to play out. Your inadequacy, you're feeling like someone's going to take advantage of you. And it's because you've not learned how to find a balance when it comes to vulnerability. Look, if you take advantage of me, there's two things here. Someone's taking advantage of you. So why are they taking advantage of you? Question is, you have to ask yourself. And then you start, as an avoidant, you start asking, like, they're taking advantage of me because I'm not good enough, because they're taking me for a dickhead, that person doesn't respect me, and maybe those two things are true, but have you worked on you so that you present in a more confident manner? Because, see, people take advantage of people that they see they can take advantage of. And you know that. And because you have that weakness, you're getting pissed and annoyed the fact that person can see it. And you're assuming now that Maya's going to do that to you by taking advantage of you. Now, I spoke to Laron, and of course, like, he has a situation now, he can come in on the interview and say what he says, but I'm going to go with what I saw when I saw it. And I was like, yeah, that's that insecurity playing up in that moment. No matter, like, you see that she's talking to another dude, and whatever happens, in that moment, she said she, talking to a guy that she knew or whatever, right? Now, the club is the most craziest moment because in the club, there's too much noise, too much sound, and there's far too much darkness and strobe lighting that things look some type of way. Now, I'm not saying that it didn't look that way. I'm not saying it wasn't that way. I'm saying that there's too much of the noise and the sound and everything that can really begin to conflict the way you look at a situation and make you react before it's time. And so now, let's listen to this little bit of this clip here. Listen to this.
Downhill from here. I can get jealous a little bit and a little possessive.
Now, he said it's going to be downhill from here because already the mindset, again, once more, is that he's thinking about how it's all going to go to pot now. And so when people feel like it's all going to go to pot, what do they start doing? They do one or two things. Either they discard the relationship completely and they completely X you out, or they're going to be anxious about it, or some people have the fearful avoidant, and they be anxious about it and they try to hold on tighter to that relationship, and they suffocate you even more. So the reality of the situation is, which one will you choose? Now, fearful avoidance, I don't really know their ones. They do a bit of push and pull, don't they? So they can get a bit manipulative. Shout out to any fearful avoidance out there. It can get a little bit manipulative because they're now they want you, but they don't want you. And then it's like, I'm going to push you away, we're going to pull you in a little bit, right? So you're going to be confused with them too. But again, this goes back to what's the videotape playing in your mind, and now the videotape in his mind is going do 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 do. I think this ain't looking good now. I'm gonna be downhill, and the reality of the situation, unfortunately, and we'll discuss this in part 2. She found out that you called her a B word. It ain't gonna help your situation, bro. And there are levels to your anger and your frustration that can go to. And I'll do it in part 2 when I talk about it. But this situation, unfortunately, has played out against you because that information got back to her. And rightly so, she's reacting in a very bad way because how are you going to be so vexed and jealous of me and we're not fully even together yet? We're still in the process, right?
I do have a little concern with dating guys that, get angry quick. How are you when you drink? Like, you think that's something you could...
I don't think I get angry quick.
I can't wait to address part 2 about he doesn't get angry quick, because I don't think he gets angry quick, but the reality of the situation, he does get angry quick. Let me tell you why. Let me not go there. That's part 2. Let me reserve it for part 2. I want to be able to savor it for them. But again, I wanted to say this, if anybody out there, just to kind of hopefully make you understand, all right, the club in itself will always bring confusion because there are several things that happen. Music's playing very loud. We've got people who are of the opposite sex in your space, in your environment, who are uncontrollable. We're going to do things, see your partner, da-da-da. The key thing about being in a club, especially, or any place that has some level of confusion that is inbuilt in the system, is that you have emotional regulation. And let me tell you this now, even me, I'm learning. I had a situation, some time back, and I was like, yo, I blew a freaking gasket. And I'll talk about it in part 2. I blew a gasket. You know what I'm saying to you? And when I don't often blow my gasket, but when I blow my gasket, everybody gonna know. Do you get what I'm saying to you? Because the way I'm fuming, it takes me a long time to get to there. So when I'm there, it's long for everybody. But the reality is, it's triggered by disappointment, people taking advantage of me, being misjudged, being misread, being misunderstood, feeling like someone's going to take advantage. I think I already said taking advantage of me. And then the anger rises because there is something there that is wounded from childhood. Do you get what I'm saying to you? So it needs to be worked on. God was at me. I can't lie to you. And I will talk about it in part 2. Honestly, I will. So the club brings confusion. So you need to have emotional regulation and discipline, and learn to subject yourself to not answering certain questions until later on. It is not the time nor the season to answer a question about whether you're talking to a man or whatever in the club in that particular way. Or if you are going to do it, you have to learn how to be able to do it in the most calmest manner. You pull her aside, say, hey, look, what I saw over there, I'm not sure what I saw over there, but you know what I mean? Do you guys know each other or whatever? And she'll be like, yeah, okay, cool, look. Just because I saw it, it looks some obvious, but cool, I appreciate it. Thank you for being honest with me. And you move it on. You might mark it in your mind, but you move it on, right? If you know you can't do that, and you know a lot of us can't do that, then you got to leave it there. Yeah, and address it after when you're much more calmer and you haven't got the narrative in your head of someone's going to take advantage of me, someone's going to lie to me, they're running away from me, they don't want me anymore, they're abandoning me. All those thoughts are going to cause you to react in a very bad way. So the club is just a vehicle that exposes the insecurity that's already inside of you, and it does it by stress testing you, because there's several things that are happening. Some people are drinking, the people are dancing, people are trying to express themselves, people are doing things, and things get misread very, very easily. And so, this will make you also possessive if you're not very much aware of the fears and the levers of triggers that you actually have, and the club will definitely trigger that. Promise you. And so you need to be able to keep a good cool head on yourself as well. All right. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, because part 2 I want to talk about this, right? Part 2 I want to talk about this. My final note on this is to say this: any guy out there, insecurity, don't let it ruin your relationship. First and foremost, you have to be aware, like Ron wasn't very much aware, that you don't judge things by black and white, and you don't judge it by right and wrong instantaneously until you get more information. The information you just seen, it may look like it's a done deal, but wait. There are too many scenarios that have happened in people's lives where they've seen it and they've gone, boom, and then they go and find out later on that's not how it is, right? So we're going to do that in part 2. But listen, insecurity and trying to do this to women, when they talk about a friend approach them, you will never win that battle, sir. You will never win it. Leave it alone. Trust me. Just mark it on the wall. We understand it. It is what it is. Appreciate you guys.